Good morning and happy Sunday slow stitching. Welcome to Railway Cottage Studio. I'm Karen and I am ready to spend the entire day down here today. I'm very excited to have a clear Sunday. I thought I'd just show you what I've done on my little pouch since I saw you last. I finished all the stitching of everything that was pinned on, and I'm pretty much, look, I'm not going to do a lot more to it, I don't think. I wanted to keep it fairly simple. So this little pouch was made from a heap of hexagons that I picked up at Vinnie's. Hexagons that looked like, where did I put the other ones? Let me show you. Oh, I should have prepared these earlier. Hexagons that came in a bag, probably half of them were finished and half are just cut out, but they've been done in this quilt as you go method. So I tea dyed them all yesterday, and I like them a lot more now. You can see the quilt as you go method means basically you have a bigger piece of backing in a hexagon shape, a smaller, I'll do this one, it's probably easier to see, a smaller hexagon shape, and then you fold over and stitch. So the beauty of these is when you stitch them together, they're done. You know, they're lined basically. So I thought I would see if I can make a little pouch out of these. I've seen some beautiful little pouches online made from hexagons and some little bowls. So I've been having a play with design, and this is what's come up, and it's actually come up really easily. I did do it a bit backwards because I was trying to figure out how to make the sides work and everything, but basically I now have this, which is a cheat sheet, so it'll be much easier. Unlike I did, I kind of stitched some along a line and tucked it around, and now that I've figured it out, you really need 21 hexagons sewn together like this, and obviously that's a lot quicker than sewing them in one at a time and trying to join. So the red line is the fold lines, and then the yellow is where you need to connect them. So I will start from scratch with a new one of these just to see if it works really well. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to sew 21 hexagons together and do that in another video. So I'll show you how this folds. So this is the front of your pouch, and I guess the beauty of doing it this way too is you could actually do all of the embellishment before you sewed it together, which, as we know, is a lot easier than reaching inside a pouch, particularly when you get down to the bottom stuff. So this works by simply folding up, folding over, and then connecting where the yellow lines are, and then that's your flap. Really, really simple. I've left this jagged. I mean, you could sew half hexies there if you wanted a flat one, but I don't. I really like the flappy bit, and it's turned into this really cute little pouch. So because it's lined, and these also have a very thin, it's almost like a really light felt in them as a batting, so they're a perfect weight for something like this. So yeah, if you wanted to take a screenshot of that, you're more than welcome to. You know, we don't gatekeep here. Love to share ideas. So you could put another hexagon here. I did try that to see if I wanted a pointy bit, and I'll show you why I didn't do it. Like, you might like that. I didn't like that so much. I mean, you could do a half one there if you wanted to finish it like that. I think that looks like a face. Looks like a face, people, but obviously if you wanted to do that, you would just simply add another hexagon here excuse me, to bring that up to 22. So very, very simple way to make a pouch, especially when you find ready-made hexies. So today I'm just going to think about, oh, look at that, have I stitched that together? I have, but if I cut that, it'll be right. What else I'd like to do, and you can see these hexagons, let me show you on one of these, have been some are machine made and some are handmade. So you can see they've got a zigzag stitch. Let me just zoom you in. They have a zigzag stitch all the way around there, and then they have a machine stitch. So obviously she was on a mission and she went boom boom and then changed it to zigzag. So I haven't removed them before I put them together, but as I've sewn over bits, obviously there was no point me removing anything under where there's embellishment. As I've sewn over them, I've then gone to, this was a handmade one, see there's nothing on here, but then I'm going to go around and, like, I'll remove this stitching. I don't like, see, can you see the stitching on here, the white machine stitching? I'll remove that. So all I've done on the back is put a few bits of embellishment over here, just sort of embroidered or with the running stitch done a shape of a heart, and a few stitches. So today I'm going to spend probably just 10 minutes doing a little bit more, and then I'm going to call it finished. I know it's difficult for me to step away, but I have other things to do today, so I'm going to call that finished. I just wanted to have a look at the balance of it all. I was a bit worried here because I've got, I haven't got any sort of thing here. I think I need a little something here with a bit of colour. So that's my mission this morning. I'm just trying not to put another Hexie on as the, but look how nice a Hexie would look. Actually, you know what? It's shocking, isn't it? This is, or stop, stand down. I'm going to get a Suffolk puff. Let's get some Suffolk puffs. Let's go. She says as she reaches for the hexagons. I'm going to bring both. I was going to walk past the hexagons to get the Suffolk puffs. I'm actually just going to see if I have a Hexie. This is my box of offcuts to make hexagons with. So this just, when I have a bigger bit of scrap that's big enough to make Hexies, I tend to just chuck it in here, and then I take this with me if I am sitting and watching telly or something that I can't stand to do without doing something. So I'm just going to grab anything red. And some of these are Hexies I've made, some of them are Hexies that I've picked up in projects that I've bought, more UFOs. And again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking. Don't want the white because everything is tea-dyed. Quite like that little brown and that blue one. Although, who can go past French General? Okay, stop, stand down, put that away. I'm going to try with the Hexie first. And again, just see. Doesn't everyone put a Hexie on a Hexie as a embellishment? It's really having the camera to look through because it's so much clearer. I don't know why design is so much easier to see when you're looking through a camera, but it just is. Alright, so we're going to do a comparison. There's some Hexies that I like. Let's grab a few puffs. So this is my little lunchbox. Let me just zoom it out a bit. So my little lunchbox that I picked up many, many years ago. Remember these? And it's my home of Suffolk puffs. I'm going to just have a look for something. Grab him out. And again, I'm looking for things that have been tea-dyed because I'm all brown. The cushion cover that keeps on giving. I got these last year when Mum and I went to Melbourne. There was a cushion cover I picked up for $2 and it had 24 of these on the cover. So I cut the cover off and brought it home, and they just keep going. So, when you're in Vinnie's, always check the cushions and the placemats. Placemats are where you can find some really nice quilted things. In fact, I've got a project in my list of projects I want to do that is done on a old quilted stowed placemat. My projects are like planes waiting to land, Do you feel like that? So look at that gorgeous thing. So I've pulled that out because immediately I thought that would look nice. Look how nice that looks. What if I went over the top with that? Well, what am I going to do now? Of course I'm going to sew that on. Let's have a look. If I did that, so that, if you haven't seen, I did a quilt for the quilt show this year for the challenge of, on the map was the challenge. So I did a map of a sewer's village where all the roads were made up of old doilies, and all of the little houses represented, sewers like me and you, and older sewers. And it's supposed to represent how vintage textiles move from the home of one sewer to another. It's called the Sewer's Village. And I bound that with Suffolk puffs, which I loved. So I'm also going to bind my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 8 quilt with Suffolk puffs. But I just love them folded over. Because look. So now you know that I'm going to have to just use this beautiful block of 1930s. And look, they're not tea-dyed, doesn't matter, still works. So let's just pin. Let's give ourselves 2 options. I'm just going to cut that off, and look, I could unpick it, but I don't mind either. So if I was going to choose, I'm going to choose, let's do it. Let's choose whether we go pin it on, which, you know, normally I would just stitch because who has time to make choices. I'm going to open it flat. This is my join. So then I can play a bit with placement because I don't want to lose too much of my roses. I think I had 2 of these in here made up. Okay, this is the other one I have made up. I think I like this one because it has the red spot. So, oh, look how fabulous that looks. I just love it. I love these 1930s fabrics. So I'm just going to pin. I'm going to pin. Should we pin or should we just crack on? Where's the fold gone? The fold is there, more or less half. I might just give myself a little line, just like that with one of these friction pens. Just start in the corner. I'll have a visual line. There it is there. Right. Where did I put it? So I think I want the red spot at the front. Oh, I love it. So much for keeping it simple. So are you judging? Stop judging. This is still simple. This is only one element. I'm going to call it one element anyway. I'm going to do this, and then we're going to fold it up and have a look. I guess it's simple. I don't have any hanging off bits. You know, I'm justifying myself. Yeah. It is what it is. And look, my little bit of lace is a bit lost under there, but that never matters. So if I'm going to pin both sides of the ones that are going to be over the joint, just so I can have a really good look and see what it looks like when it is sewn on. Are you ready? Here we go. And of course I'm going to do that. Here comes my husband. Good morning. How are you? No, I'm all good, thanks. Tell him. So what do you think? Oh, all right. So of course that's going to be stitched on, and now I'm thinking I need another one here, which I do. Did I say I was going to keep it simple? You know better. Okay, I'm going to stitch those things on and then I'm going to stop. Do you hear me? Enough already. I've already done all of my needles. I do find if I start like this, I just choose a whole heap of colours that I love. I've literally threaded every needle that I could find. That, you know, is one that I can bear to thread. And I like just choosing a random colour and then making it work. It makes you have to be a bit creative. So my thimble, here it is. And again, so I'm stitching along here. So if you take that and create, I mean, if you have a Hexie quill, you could just cut it out, you know, in those shapes already. You can create in that space knowing that that's going to fold. And I will do another one and we'll do it that way. So, you know, we get there a long way. So I'm just going to choose a random colour. I've got this. And that's another thing, I guess I picked up this was in an op shop, and I thought, oh, it's shiny, I don't know, but I actually love it. It's one of my favorite threads. I don't generally do shiny, but this is actually beautiful, so I'm going to claim it as antique bronze or antique rose gold maybe, but it just seems to work really well in my projects. So, you know, grab things that you may not think you like, because they could surprise you. So the good thing about this, I've got lots of places to hide my knot. I'm going to go in there to start so that my knot is just tucked up under there. Let me zoom you in. And happy Sunday. Isn't it lovely to be up and already working on a project? These little Hexies, because they are pot holder method, there's actually room in there. You can see I can actually get in there to stitch, so you can hide all your stitching. There's a lot to be said for that. Making lining isn't something that I love, And so this is a really effective way of kind of doing that bit first. And had I not found these, I probably would never have thought, oh, you know, it's worth making quilt as you go hexagons. So I'm just stitching between the 2 layers. And in fact, these have also, as I said, got a layer of like a little, it's almost like the kind of light felt that you would get in an old plastic folder. It's not as thick as wadding, but it gives it a nice little bit of weight so that it can handle these bigger embellishments. Alrighty, I'm just going through. You can see I've actually gone through with the brown there when I was stitching something on. Doesn't matter. It's just for me. I'm trying not to. It's the main thing. Get an effort mark. So this is my plan, and if I put it out there today, hopefully I will have to achieve it. I'm going to finish this one. I'm not going to start doing the Hexie one from scratch, because I will sew all those hexagons together off camera, because you know it actually takes a little while to sew hexagons together. And then I'm going to, you ready? I'm going to stitch on the last panel of Home is Where the Heart Is, and I did say that yesterday, and I got completely distracted by this and then having to go and kind of prepare for the big storms, which is not an excuse. It's kind of just an excuse. So today is the day that the last piece of Home is Where the Heart Is gets stitched on, and the last row gets joined to the other 2. So that's going to happen today, and without fail. Hear me? It's going to happen today. So that's my second job, and my third job is I'm going to get my head around 2 new projects that I have planned. And I'm actually going to sit down and do some planning about my videos, because it's a bit hit and miss. I'm sorry about that. I know some people are so good at saying, oh, I post a video every this day. For me, it's just when I can get to it. You know, I work full time, and I also work every second weekend doing respite for a couple of the little girls at school so that their foster mums have a break. So time is of the essence. So I tend to have a little block of time, and I'll do a whole heap of stuff, and I never ever can hold it back. If I've made 3 videos, I tend to post them all. But anyway, I'm going to try and become a little bit more intentional with my videos. That's my goal for November. So if you are watching from the Scenic Rim or the Darling Downs or further up in the South Burnett, I hope you're okay after yesterday. We just had the most horrendous storms yesterday. And if you're watching from the States, then how the heck do you live with tornadoes? Because, holy dooly, we had the threat of tornadoes. I actually haven't put the news on this morning. Threat of tornadoes yesterday in several places, and that was terrifying enough. So I just don't know how you live with that threat. It's terrifying. Soffit puffs. I think if you looked at anything I've ever made, you will find a Suffolk puff and you will find a hexagon, which is ironic because they're 2 of the oldest and most common way to use scraps. And hexagons are very easy. There is a little video I've done in here on how to make hexagons using the method my mum showed me. She uses just a couple of paper clips, and it's really effective because without fail, again, if I make a hexagon without a paper clip, by the time I get to the bottom edge, like the opposite edge of the one I've started on, I've moved it, so I've got nothing to turn over. So she has this really sneaky way of just using a paper clip and moving it as you go, and it makes it so easy. And it becomes something you can do just, you know, without even thinking after a while, which is the sort of thing that's great for watching TV or sitting in a car, or you know, those times when we have to be pulled out of our sewing rooms, kicking and screaming into the world, but you're driving yourself mad because you've got nothing to do with your hands. So today, the other goal I have today is, and I know this sounds silly to lots of people, but I need to learn. I record my videos on a little camera because our internet's not great here, and if I video on my phone, it just takes so long to upload, and the whole time if I even try to do anything else on my phone, then it doesn't work. So I've got a little camera that I use. So I have to compress the files in order to upload them, but I need to learn how to join them together. I haven't been able to do that before because if I imported them onto my laptop, they'd be just too big because I do waffle on a bit. So now that I've learned how to compress, that's my job today, and that way I can make some of these videos that could easily be one video. Join them together and make them a bit more cohesive for you. So I think I'm just going to keep going with this so far. Don't mind that colour. What do you think? Yep, I'm just going to keep going with this one. You can see I've got a little bit of brown lace under here that we've lost, but that's okay. That happens quite a bit with my work. I do want to go through it though. Let's go. There's a spot. Oh, and the other thing is Christmas. I want to start a Christmas angel. So all of those things I need to achieve in about 6 hours today. What do you think? That's my mission. We're looking for some inspiration for a Christmas angel, but I haven't come up with the idea in my head yet. I might need to just start. I want something that's robust, that will, you know, last years, that can be shoved up on top of the tree. I just have so many things I want to do. In the time allowed to me. Let's have a look there. So you can see here this zigzag. Let me go in. Zigzag, am I in? I'm already in. This zigzag machine stitching. Look, when I tea-dyed it, it made it a little bit more bearable, but I'll take that out. And maybe that will be where I sit at night and just go along and unpick. And I might find that I do have to stitch that seam because that's like a hem. It's folded under. So that's the only thing keeping that in place. So I'll need to re-stitch that. There's a dodgy knot hanging out the side. I need to sort that out. I need an assistant who can sit at the side and sew these hexies together for me. A slow stitch assistant. So I've started looking at the idea of running some workshops locally. There is nothing in our local area for slow stitches. Like I said, I'm in regional Queensland. Corinne is south of me. Corinne's down in Hervey Bay. She's about an hour and a half away. And I know in the past she has run some workshops down there, and she runs a wonderful retreat every year. So I'm just having a look at the moment of running some retreats, maybe it's not retreats, some workshops over the Christmas holidays. So it's just seeing if there's enough interest, basically, to make it worthwhile. Because, as you know, putting together packs and things is time-consuming, but I'd love to be able to find some people locally. I found a lovely lady called Jenny, and I found Lorraine and Judy through Instagram, who are local, but my mum has stolen 2 of those ladies. They are also retired ladies who do quilting mainly, so that's been a really lucky and lovely find through Instagram. And Jenny, who is a slow stitcher, we've only managed to meet up once, but we're going to meet again in the holidays. So I found Jenny, So I want to find some local people who love to slow stitch. As I said, we have a quilting group, but it's quite a conservative kind of group of ladies who do very much traditional quilting, and they're lovely, but they think I'm an alien, basically. So if you're in the region, let me know. It's like desperate and dateless, isn't it? Okay, here we go. See how nice this thread is? It's lovely, isn't it? Just gives a little bit of something else with a little bit of a rose gold sort of sheen. Oh, look at that. Love it. Look, I might decide that I need to tea dye this whole thing again, but I don't think I will. I quite like the white on this isn't clashing. I think it's actually fine. And sometimes you just overthink things. What am I going to do with you? Let's go up. So I can see some unpicking in my nights ahead upstairs. They should make shows, and I think someone, I think we've talked about this before, they should make shows that you can watch while you're sewing. Shows that don't require, you know, that could say she looks moodily out the window while you got your head down doing something, so you don't miss half of what's going on. So it's time for the New Roxy Journal of Stitchery prompt tonight. I haven't done my EPP one because I hated what I did, so I need to have a think about that. I've done a lot of Hexies on there already. I kind of didn't want to do Hexies, and I did a little block of apple core, which I also tea dyed yesterday, and the pink pen that I used, this one, which is supposed to be, not that one of these that's supposed to be was it this? Yes, this thing, which is supposed to come off, bled everywhere and didn't come off. So now I have a little block of 4 with, you know, pink dye all through them. So I already hated them because they took me forever and I didn't enjoy sewing them together. So they've gone to go into the corner and think about what you've done pile. And I need to rethink it. I need to rethink what I want to do for that. How do I get at this? Let's go in here. Oh, without stabbing myself. Because I wanted to do something different. I've already got clamshells and hexies, of course, on there. Rachel did some raw-edged hexies. Maybe, I think that the goal was to try something new, so that one might just sit with me for a minute. I might see what tonight's prompt is, and and come back to that one. So these ones are folding over the middle. Is this the folding over the middle ones? Yes. So I'm just making sure that they're not going to be all sticky uppy. Okay. So I had several blocks of these little Suffolk puffs joined together, and it's amazing when you're like, what should I put on there, and it's just like, yep, done. So it's so nice sometimes when you're not working on a bigger project just to go and make yourself some elements and put some pieces together, because sometimes they give you work, that little bit of direction that you may have been looking for. I'm just going to tie that off there. Stitch, and I'm going to use more of the same thread. That one. I have my back door open at the moment. My studio opens to under my house, so it opens to a veranda. So my fingers look dirty, but it's just from ink. I was inking last night. They're clean, I promise. Because I just felt like I needed some air, but I can actually feel how hot the air is that's coming in. So I might have to close it. There we go. I'm going to just trim the end so I don't have a big thing to hide. Where are we up to? I've done the middle one, so I might start over here and work my way around. Again, if I start here, then I'll finish here and I can go to the next one. Now, I said I was going to keep this simple. So this is simple, in case you're wondering. Just sewing these all a little bit differently. This one's just a little bit further in, and because it's on the flap, that's okay. It's not going to be bent over and have a big lump in the middle because it's not stitched down firmly. So I wonder who made these hexagons here in Bundaberg. I wonder if it's a lady whose deceased estate was distributed. It made me think it was, because one of the hexagons is literally half done. And I think I shared in one of my earlier videos, my grandmother who lived in Rosewood was literally halfway through a row of stitching when she suddenly died. She had a fall and then died in hospital. So I hope I die halfway through a project, stitching to the end. I'm just going to do 2 rows around this little guy. So these have all been backed with a few different things. Obviously this maker has just used what she had, which I love. I like when nothing matches. There's a few holes in this fabric from where those stitches were, but they'll be fine, they'll close up. I'll give them a bit of a squidge with a needle later. See, if I wasn't keeping it simple, I would do some stitching, but I'm not. I'm keeping it simple. Getting there very quickly today. I've already forgotten the list of things I said I was going to do. Isn't that nice when you're stitching and you just forget what you're meant to do and just enjoy the rhythm of it? So I'm going to do this little set and that other really old Suffolk puff that I've pinned on, and that's it. That's all you're getting. Little pouch, that's all you're getting, apart from some unpicking. You can see the fabrics in this, if you looked at them individually, some of them I would never, I wouldn't put them in a pile of things I even liked. But when you put it together, they just work. And I think having those real kickers, those real clashing colours, and is what just makes so many things really effective. Brings out other elements of your work because of the colour combinations, etc. So I'm just going to put this little flower over the top. So he goes under. Again, just picking up the top fabric there. And when I can, the little bit of felt underneath. But again, because these aren't massive, big, open pieces of fabric, there's not going to be any flopping forward. The other thing I like about this thread, and I'm probably tempting fate by saying this, is it doesn't knot when you're using it. You know, some of those real cotton ones do, particularly when you're a bit of a maniac like I am and work quickly. So now I'm just debating, yeah, no, I'm going to tie off. I'm not going to attempt to, because this is a flap that's going to open and close, so I don't want threads running underneath it. Just going to do a couple of little stitches underneath here, same spot, and then that will come off. I'm not going to show you what it looks like till I've finished. We have enough to go around one more, and I'll have to rethread. One there. And start here, so I'll finish one. I don't think I'll manage to make all the way around, but that's fallen off, so I'm going to do a new one rather than use that bit and have to rethread in a minute. Our air doesn't feel as humid today. I'm hoping that the storms have passed. Literally 2 weeks ago we were all begging for rain. We hadn't had any rain. Everything was so brown around town. When our kids went out to play at school at lunchtime, there was just waves of dust. But in true Queensland style, then it started torrentially pouring. So we have enough now, thank you. If we could just have a bit of a dry out period, that'd be really good. Let's go back up in here. Too far, I think. So what are you making for Christmas? There's so much Christmas stuff going on around the place. I just watched Sarah's video, her latest video, and she's showing a whole heap of her mum's stuff. And oh my God, Juju, she's just fabulous, so talented. Everywhere you look in her house is something. She's kind of done a video of what's on Judy's work table, but also then just, you know, randomly around her house. If you randomly look around my house, you'll find probably unfolded washing, you know, tomato sauce bottles that should have been put away. But randomly around her house are all these beautiful little vignettes of made treasures. So I need to step up my game, Judy. That's what you've shown me. And everything is handmade and vintage and stunning. So that's where those girls obviously have got all their creativity from. See, look at this fabric, it's horrible. It's purple and orange, but it's also fabulous. It's got orange and this real putridy green spot, but in the context of this work, it's perfect because it just screams, look at me, I'm vintage. I can't get under there. Why are you doing that? I've been giving my thumb a good workout the last couple of days and I've been feeling it, that's for sure. It's not the pushing, it's the pulling when you have to hold really tight is what hurts. Like here where you're going through multiple layers, like here where I've gone through a couple of layers of the borders and that stuff when you're going to push. So I try to use my table to give it a good shove underneath when I can. But this pouch will be finished before I finish this video. What are we, 40 minutes? Nearly done. 2 more of these to stitch on. And look, I'd stop the video, but I don't have time to stop the video. You can fast forward me if you want to. Just hoping my little camera doesn't get hot, because it tends to do that. And if you are a geek and you know about these things, give me some advice on how to fix that. What am I going to do with this guy? Let's just go around. So this one is also, is it on the fold? I don't know, I've lost track now. Just getting under so I don't stitch my lid closed, my little flap closed. I've done things like that lots of times. One to go in this block anyway, and then I think I've only pinned on one more, which I'm going to use a different coloured thread for. Look, I'm going to tie off, I'm not going to try and go under there, tie off under here. Just by lifting the flap a bit and doing a couple little stitches into the fabric underneath and making sure I catch the felt in the middle. That's not going to go anywhere. Okay. 42 minutes, I'm doing okay. Just going to go around this one in a whip stitch. Which is the slowest thing, sorry. So this whole project came about because of my off shopping on Friday afternoon. So this little bundle of Hexies has sent me down on a completely different creative path this weekend, which is really nice. Because it's really inspired me. I said earlier I have seen some of the little Hexie pouches on Instagram. I'll have to find them. They were just in something that popped up. And I haven't been able to re-find it because there was a thread going, and I think there was, hashtag, and there was a few different Hexie projects, and there was a lot of Hexie pouches, so I'll see if I can find it. It was very neat, so I think it might be one of the Japanese ladies. Their work is very distinctive, beautifully vintage, but very, very neat. Which I cannot do. Just catching that border. Oh, I thought that was more thunder, but it's a motorbike. Alright, we're nearly there, people. Just trying to catch a bit of that felt there, yes, because that's quite a light. I mean, it's obviously old. It feels like some of the old fabrics I got out of my nana's house. That was in when did I get married? 95, so 1993. She died. And it's got that kind of feel of those old cottons that are kind of a bit brittle might be the word. So I'm just making sure I capture the little padded bit inside as well. I'm going to push myself up under here to tie off and do a couple of stitches. And that is that little block of, let's have a look, are you ready? Oh, gorgeous. I'm going to sew this on and that's it. That's it, that's it, that's it. I'm going to use green because that's what I grabbed. And this is this new green that I also picked up at Vinnie's, and I only got a little bit of it, like there was only this much in the little bag, but it's a real chartreusey kind of green, and I think that will work perfectly there. And again, it's already done and knotted. Just getting the end off. I'm going to start up under here, and I'm going to whip stitch. Having a whip stitch moment, I think, or am I? Let me see, what do I want to do? Yeah, see, when it's closed you don't see all that other whip stitching, so I'm going to whip stitch it. I like the way it looks. The thing is, if you use a finer cotton like this, you do need to do a fair few stitches. Whip stitching with wool is the way to go, because then you're just around it in 2 seconds. There. So again, doing this before you put it together would be much easier. I'm just going to put another pin in because otherwise it's going to move while I'm scrunching. There we go. So I'm just going to do one lot around, and then I might have to do ones in between just because I want it to stay still and not move, and I don't want to take the pins out. And a bit further than that to there. And I'm trying not to go through the back here, but it really doesn't matter. It's right down the bottom of my pouch. And there's lots of layers, so better to be all through all of them than not through enough. I need to go a bit higher there. There it is. I think I'm going to need to go around and stitch in the gap, if you know what I mean, because I've done quite wide stitches. I'll do one round and then I can take the pins out and it'll be a lot easier to get at. Trying to go in about 1/2 centimetre, but unevenly, if that makes sense. Yeah, that green's good. It's got enough of a zhuzh without being too much. Oh, that one came close, but that's how that is. I might just start doing smaller ones here. I only have to redo the bottom bit. This bit's much easier to access. And so this little panel of birds, this little stitchery, Mum made that 30 years ago. So, and they say, why do you keep all the stuff? This is why. This is why I keep all the stuff. Look, I'm just going to have to shut my door because it just got so hot. And those of us in menopause, we don't need any extra heat, that is for sure. You hear that thumping? That's my dog's tail wagging on the floor upstairs. Okay. Lost my thread, literally. So I'm just hoping I don't go through all layers here. Just check. being a little bit more intentional with where I'm putting these. See, look, I went all the way through there. Where's my little blue? Let me just get my little blue board to put in. So now, is it in far enough? Let me have a look. It's just a little bit too wide, but I just need that side in. Yeah, right in there. So that way I can just shove my needle in and not worry about going through to the other side. Just like that. Because there's multiple layers. Ow, multiple layers. And you've got to push pretty hard to get it through. Go just to there, I think. So I'm going through the big bulky bit of the doily, the whip stitching underneath, and the actual hexagon itself. So I'm just going to do a couple of stitches there and make sure it's really tight. That's better. Again, I'm just doing a few crooked stitches here so that they overlap. That's it. And my thread's doubled up. Which one is it? That one. Alright, ladies and gents, we're getting there. So I'm just going through the top layer here just to give myself a little bit of an easier run, just double checking. Good, didn't stitch it together. And again, stitching this before you stitch your hexies together. Easy. I might make a Christmas pouch with the next one. What do you think? I could use it. Letters to Santa. Juju's quilt has got the most fabulous little envelope that says Letters to Santa, and it's lined in red check or red stripe. I love it. And it's got a little snowman in it that obviously has posted himself to Santa. Isn't whimsy awesome? I think our adult lives need so much more whimsy. And if you've been watching Corinne do her mouse house, then that is just the source of whimsy. It's divine. Absolutely divine. I'm just going to do a couple of extra stitches in the gaps around here, so I don't need to go through all the layers because I know that this is really well stitched down. But I'm just being careful that I don't pucker anything by pulling the needle too close here if it's not in contact with the fabric under it. So I'm going to go here, just make sure I do go through the base every now and then. Oh, I lost my thread. But you know what? I'm pretty much done. So I'm going to get this back on my needle and tie it off. And we are finished. And I'm not going to stitch anything else on it. And I'm going to say that out loud so that I don't. So I'll probably be sitting up in the dark in my room tonight stitching. Stitching secret things on. No, I won't. I'm going to be done. I just really want one more stitch here actually. Let's see if I can manage it. Otherwise it's going to annoy me. So that's it. I'm going to call that finished. Pull that back that way underneath. Are we underneath? Yes. Pull it through. And I'm going to just go slightly the other way. And done. Finished. Fertig. Let's have a look. Are you ready? And she is finished. So thank you for the lady who donated this because I've had a wonderful weekend playing with this pouch. I love it. Which surprises me because I didn't really like the hexagons, but look, it's lovely. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to do, won't be today, I will do another video where I will start with this. I will make this hexagon piece first, excuse me, sew them all together, and then I'll show you how to sew that together if you're not sure. We might even do one and embellish it and then sew it together. So that might be my Christmas project, that and my angel. So thank you so much for popping in, and I'll see you soon.